On the night of February 5, 2026, President Donald Trump shared a video on Truth Social that would ignite a national controversy. The post, not an official White House production, was a user-generated video that began with familiar claims of voter fraud, but hid something far more inflammatory. By sharing it, Trump elevated fringe content to presidential endorsement, instantly making it headline news. The video was quickly deleted, but not before it spread across social media, sparking outrage and raising serious questions about the president's judgment. The incident forced the nation to confront the power and danger of a single post from the highest office in the land. The video opened with a rapid-fire montage of debunked election fraud claims, echoing Trump's usual rhetoric. For the first 45 seconds, it was standard political fare, designed to energize his base and sow distrust in the electoral system. But in its final moments, the video took a shocking turn, abruptly splicing in a deeply offensive, unrelated clip. This bait-and-switch tactic, common in extremist circles, exposed viewers to racist content under the guise of political messaging. By sharing it, the president broadcasted a hateful message to millions, whether intentionally or not. The controversy was no longer about election claims. It was about the president amplifying overt racism. The most disturbing part of the video was a crudely altered image depicting Barack and Michelle Obama with the faces of apes. This wasn't just a random act of internet trolling, it was a calculated attempt to demean and dehumanize two of the most prominent black figures in American history. The image, which quickly spread across social media, was met with immediate outrage and disbelief from people of all backgrounds. For many, it was a chilling reminder of the ugly, persistent racism that still exists in society, even at the highest levels of power. This racist caricature, set to "The Lion Sleeps Tonight," drew on a long, painful history of dehumanizing black people. The use of animalistic imagery has been a tool of white supremacy for centuries, used to justify violence, exclusion, and discrimination. By pairing this with a song that is itself rooted in African culture, the video twisted something beautiful into something hateful, weaponizing it for maximum cruelty. The echoes of Jim Crow-era propaganda and minstrel shows were unmistakable, and the pain it caused was deeply personal for many viewers. The combination of imagery and music was a direct, unambiguous act of bigotry. It wasn't subtle or hidden behind coded language. It was blatant, and it was meant to provoke. The intent was clear: to strip the Obamas of their dignity and humanity in the eyes of the public, and to send a message to anyone who looked like them. For many, seeing the first black president and first lady targeted in this way, by a sitting president, was a shocking escalation. It crossed a line that many believed would never be crossed in modern America. The attack wasn't just on the Obamas as individuals, but on the progress their election represented for millions of Americans. Trump's history of attacking the Obamas made the post even more significant, crossing from political rivalry into personal racist degradation. This was not the first time he had targeted them, but the overt racism of this post marked a new low. It sent a signal that such behavior was not only tolerated, but encouraged at the highest levels of government. The impact was immediate and profound, especially for Black Americans, for whom such imagery is a reminder of systemic racism. It reignited painful memories and fears, and sparked a national conversation about the responsibilities of those in power to uphold basic standards of decency and respect. That it came from the president's account was seen as a betrayal of the office's responsibility to represent all Americans. The presidency is supposed to be a symbol of unity and leadership, but this act only deepened divisions and left many questioning whether the country was moving forward or slipping back into its darkest chapters. The backlash was immediate and unusually bipartisan. Within hours of the controversial post going public, the halls of Congress were buzzing with outrage and disbelief. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle quickly recognized the gravity of the situation, and the response was swift, echoing through the corridors of power and across the nation. Democrats condemned the post as blatantly racist, demanding not only an apology, but also concrete action to address the underlying issues. Their statements were forceful and unequivocal, with many calling for accountability and a renewed commitment to fighting hate in all its forms. Activists and community leaders rallied outside government buildings, amplifying the call for justice and change. But this time, prominent Republicans also spoke out, calling the video unacceptable and offensive. Some even broke ranks with party leadership, emphasizing that such rhetoric had no place in American discourse. The rare show of unity sent a powerful message. This was not a moment for partisan politics, but for moral clarity. Civil rights groups, religious leaders and public figures joined in, warning of the real-world harm such rhetoric causes. They highlighted the dangers of normalizing hate speech and the urgent need for leaders to set a better example. Across the country, voices from all walks of life demanded accountability and a reaffirmation of shared values. The unity of the response was striking. Rarely does an issue bridge the partisan divide so completely. For a brief moment, long-standing political rivalries were set aside as leaders came together in defense of basic decency and respect. The public witnessed an extraordinary display of solidarity, with calls for healing and reform echoing from every corner. The pressure on the White House was immense, as leaders from all sides agreed a fundamental line had been crossed. Behind closed doors, advisors scrambled to craft a response, aware that silence or deflection would only deepen the crisis. The administration faced mounting demands for transparency and accountability. The controversy was no longer just a political misstep, it was a national crisis of decency. News outlets ran wall-to-wall coverage, and citizens across the country watched anxiously as the story unfolded. The sense of urgency was palpable, with many fearing lasting damage to the nation's social fabric. The administration was forced to respond to a scandal it could not simply dismiss. Under intense scrutiny from the public and the press, officials issued statements and held briefings, attempting to regain control of the narrative. But the question remained, would words be enough to restore trust, or was real change finally on the horizon? Under intense pressure, the White House deleted the post overnight, a rare move for Trump. But there was no immediate apology or explanation, only silence that fueled speculation and anger. When Trump finally addressed the issue, he deflected blame, claiming he'd only watched the beginning and was unaware of the racist ending. He shifted responsibility to a staffer, saying they failed to review the full video before posting. This tactic, blaming others, allowed Trump to distance himself from the controversy without taking real responsibility. Critics argued that deleting the post was not enough. They demanded accountability and an explanation for how such content was shared at all. The president's refusal to apologize only deepened the crisis. When pressed by reporters about the controversy, Trump remained defiant and unyielding. He looked directly at the cameras and declared, "No, I didn't make a mistake." There was no hesitation in his voice, no sign of second-guessing or reflection. Instead, he doubled down, making it clear that he saw no fault in his actions. This refusal to admit any error or express even a hint of regret sent a strong signal. It suggested that the deletion of the controversial post was not an act of genuine remorse, but rather a calculated political move. Trump's stance was not about acknowledging harm or taking responsibility. It was about maintaining his image and control over the narrative. Rather than addressing the racist content at the heart of the issue, Trump shifted the conversation to the process behind the post. He pointed fingers at a staffer, claiming the video had not been properly vetted. This deflection allowed him to avoid direct engagement with the substance of the criticism. At no point did he offer condemnation of the offensive imagery, nor did he express sympathy for those who were hurt or angered by it. His primary concern seemed to be shielding himself from blame. rather than addressing the pain caused or the broader implications of his actions. This lack of contrition sparked outrage among critics and members of the public alike. What began as a controversy over a single social media post quickly escalated into a larger debate about Trump's character, his judgment, and his unwillingness to take responsibility for his words and actions. The controversy refused to die down. News outlets continued to cover the story, and social media buzzed with heated discussions. The president's unwillingness to engage with the substance of the criticism only fueled the fire, keeping the issue alive in the public consciousness. For many Americans, Trump's response sent a clear and unmistakable message. He did not believe he had done anything wrong, and he saw no reason to apologize or change course. This moment became yet another example of his combative approach to controversy, and it left the nation even more divided. This was not an isolated incident. Trump has a long history of sharing divisive, often racist content, from retweeting conspiracy theories to using racially charged language. Critics argue this is a deliberate strategy to energize his most extreme supporters. His attacks on the Obamas, the birther conspiracy, and feuds with black public figures form a clear pattern. Each incident might be dismissed as a gaffe, but together they reveal a consistent use of race as a political weapon. The video of the Obamas as apes fits squarely within this history. It was not a random mistake. It was part of a troubling legacy. The controversy echoed a dark tradition in American politics, where racist caricatures have long been used to dehumanize black people. The Trump administration has repeatedly faced criticism for extremist messaging appearing in official communications. The familiar defense, blaming staff or claiming ignorance, creates plausible deniability while allowing the content to circulate. Critics say this is a calculated tactic: post, delete, deflect, but let the message spread. The February 2026 incident followed this script exactly. The president's account delivered the message, and even after deletion the damage was done. The pattern is clear: controversy, denial, and no real accountability. When the president amplifies hateful content, it normalizes extremism and coarsens political culture. For minority communities, such incidents are not just political, they are personal and deeply painful. Trust in public institutions erodes, and America's global reputation as a champion of equality suffers. Authoritarian regimes seize on these moments to highlight U.S. hypocrisy. The bipartisan condemnation showed that some standards remain, but Trump's refusal to apologize revealed how fragile they are. Each incident like this forces a national reckoning over who we are and what we stand for. The conversation is essential to the health of the republic, but the cost of these repeated crises is high, and the wounds they leave are slow to heal.